Former Torrance County, New Mexico Sheriff and Judge Heath White not afforded absolute immunity and is facing felony charges. Welcome back to San Joaquin Valley Transparency.
Are you ready?
Heath White was originally charged with embezzlement, but those charges were thrown out of court. And after stealing a whopping $157,000, Heath White was reinstated and given $116,000 in back pay, folks. Now a new administration is in office and the Attorney General has filed new charges of embezzlement and misuse of public funds. And folks, we have some inside information of how we did that, so don't go anywhere.
Torrance County Sheriff turned Judge Heath White was forced off the bench when he was charged with embezzlement. He was put back on and given back pay when those charges were thrown out of court.
But tonight, Target 7 has learned he may be in trouble again.
The former sheriff and judge used county funds to buy guns, air compressors, shelving for his store, welders, night vision goggles, night vision scopes, and much more, folks.
We're still looking into whether he sold anything out of his store, but I can tell you some of the items were located there.
And although this looks like standard operating procedure to the naked eye, the problem was he got greedy. He had a feed store called the Old Mill Feed Store in Edgewood, New Mexico, and he was selling firearms that had been modified with county funds. He was trying to liquidate the items that he purchased, folks. And of course, his only defense after getting caught is that he was storing these county property items in his private property. A lot of those items were found at his store. Some of those items were found at his house. Now that right there alone leaves me to wonder how many private businesses have been created with tax dollars only to make our public servants wealthy in the private sector. Let's watch some of these clips. That way you guys have a better understanding of what's happening.
Remember Heath White? He was the Torrance County Sheriff who was out in front fighting crime in rural New Mexico. When his second term as sheriff ended, he became a magistrate judge. But that came to a halt nearly 4 years ago when then Attorney General Hector Balderas accused him of ordering equipment for himself. The state's Judicial Standards Commission suspended White and took him off the bench. But when White got his day in court, this judge threw out the charges because there were, quote, omissions in the search warrant state police used.
The search warrant had flaws in it, that there were misrepresentations made by law enforcement, and he threw out the whole thing. He said, this thing stinks.
White was reinstated a year ago and was given back pay, about $116,000.
The Supreme Court reinstated White as a magistrate judge.
White decided not to run for office again and stepped down in January. Court records show that in that time he presided over 90 felony first appearances. But the saga is not over. Target 7 has learned that newly elected Attorney General Raul Torres has recently filed these charges against White: 2 counts of embezzlement and 2 counts of misuse of public money. KOAT legal expert John Day says it's not uncommon to charge someone again after the case has been tossed.
This is a different administration than the previous one. And, you know, you can draw your own conclusions, but if you're law enforcement and you feel like you got stymied, but you feel like there was a legitimate case to pursue, and then you get new evidence that's not related to the previous problem-ridden evidence, I mean, I think that's not an uncommon situation.
We reached out to Torres' office. He did not want to do an on-camera interview, but a spokeswoman told Target 7 that the Attorney General has obtained new evidence in the case. They would not say what the evidence was.
What it looks like is that they found another way to use evidence against the former sheriff that was not tainted by the previous search warrant problems.
Target 7 reached out to White, but he has not responded to our messages.
Of course he won't respond, folks. They hide and they cover up all the stealing that they do, all that stuff, man. The first judge that threw out the case, he should be prosecuted as well. So this is Heath White when he was sheriff. He did a video, and this video was uploaded 10 years ago. But there's something in this video, and at the end of this video, that I want you guys to pay attention to. Karma bit him in the ass. So let's watch this.
Heath White with Torrance County Sheriff's Department. This is my first term, so I've been sheriff for 1.5 years. Prior to that, I was under sheriff. Prior to that, I was captain and then sergeant. I started my career out with Albuquerque Police Department, and I've been out here for quite a while now. The most rewarding part of my career has got to be where I'm at right now as sheriff. I found that I've been able to do the most good I can with the decisions and the department that we have now. You know, the hat and spurs are not just for show. I've been
Look at the guy's happy face. This is the best department that you could work for, to embezzle money and pocket all the extra change. Karma's about to bite you in the ass, Heath White, and I hope they finally convict your ass. There was a comment that I read on one of the videos regarding Heath White, and it read, "I am so glad that I escaped this family." I have been seeing a pattern of for some time now, is the fact that a lot of these times these sheriffs, they have their cousins, their brothers, their friends, and they're all in running for office, and they all have power and they have control over the whole damn town. And I've been seeing that a lot in a lot of different areas. Sometimes it's like, for instance, the Murdaugh case, right? If you really look back into the Murdaugh case, it wasn't just about the dude that killed his wife and son. There was a lot of things that had happened in that town where the Murdaughs were in control of pretty much the whole damn town for a long time. And we're seeing this in a lot of places, folks. Not too long ago, I did some audits in, I think it was it Merced, California? I was with Jay, Surreal Camera, rest in peace. I was with Bay Area Transparency, my sons, the San Joaquin family. And there was a guy who walked by, and he said this, and I never forgot this. He said, "This whole damn town is crooked. The sheriff owns half of the businesses in this town." And I was like, damn, like I had a million thoughts running through my head that day. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I wonder how much of this is going on everywhere. I can see it happening. The people who understand the laws, the people who understand business, you have the city attorney working with the city, with the city manager, creating contracts. You have the mayor pretty much listening to the city attorney and the city manager, to whatever they want, the mayor will do. It's a recipe for corruption, folks. When you start having public officials going into the private sector at the same time, where are they getting the money to build a business? I know they get paid pretty good money, and it's not impossible to start a business with your regular paycheck, but things have to be looked into. If there's embezzlement going on, misappropriation of funds, misuse of funds, we the people need to go in there and ask questions. That's why First Amendment auditing is extremely important. Did Heath White get busted from First Amendment auditing? No. But at the same time, we are seeing a pattern of cops, even chiefs of police, getting fired because a First Amendment auditor goes in there and starts asking questions. I mean, just look at Roach J's channel. I did a video recently on him. Make sure you go back and look at that one. A chief of police was arrested for murder. I don't know if he was stealing drugs from a different department, but he had drugs that came from an evidence room from a different department. So obviously he probably was working with somebody else who didn't get busted. Another cop that was with him is now working at Walmart in the deli. I put pictures of that up for you guys on that video. If you guys haven't seen that one, make sure you go check that out. But let's keep watching the rest of this. I do want to show you guys the end of this video, and then we'll shut it down from there. We will be doing follow-ups on the Heath White case, so you guys make sure you're subscribed to my channel.
You mess up within this community, and as long as our cases are good and solid, but you mess up out here in Torrance County, you're going to answer for it through the judicial system. They're firm and fair to all sides, but they'll put you away.
That's karma biting you right in the arse. That is karma biting you in the ass because what you just said. And I want you to look at the channel name, Cops and Cons. On that particular video, that cop was a con. So that was a cop and con at the same time. So with that being said, folks, I wanted to run the story of Heath White on here. I don't want this story to die down. Let's keep the pressure on. Let's make sure that they actually convict this dude. You know what I mean? A lot of times, they'll arrest him or whatever, they'll charge him, but they'll drop the charges. They'd already happened once with this guy. It can happen again. They can let him go again. A lot of times that happens. The news will run, the channel, local news will run a news segment on it, and then they won't talk about it again. They'll just sweep it under the rug and let it die down. He'll get a slap on the wrist. After stealing that much money, folks, imagine what that county can do with that money. Instead of just giving it to one person who it didn't belong to. This is important because I believe that this is happening in other areas. And I believe that we the people need to ask more questions. We go in there and record, document, ask questions, and find out exactly where our funds are going. There's a lot of misappropriation of funds going on in this country. It's not just in Torrance County, it's happening everywhere. Believe it or not, a lot of these public officials have private businesses as well. That's how they pretty much will own your fucking town. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys, well, I mean, I'm not going to send you to go subscribe to anybody. You can just subscribe to me if you like. Yeah, as a matter of fact, subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell so you guys don't miss my videos. Plus, we're going to bring you a follow-up on this, on the Heath White story. So thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys on the next